Hi, I'm Bianca.
And I'm Byron.
Welcome to the Self-Made Book Channel and podcast. So today, Byron.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we should talk about time in lockdown.
Go on.
So I've seen a lot of people like entrepreneurs and you know influencers and so on just complaining about the sheer quantity of emails and messages from people asking them to do things that, like, you know, come on their podcast or, you know, send a message to their family or send a birthday message or a wedding shout out, like all of those types of things, because they feel that the person's in lockdown and therefore they have excess time.
Well, they are in lockdown.
Yeah, no, and therefore you missed the end of my sentence.
Okay, yeah.
They're in lockdown and therefore they have excess time.
Yeah. And go on, and then I'll comment.
And I just think that it's a misconception that because you're in lockdown,
one of the biggest misconceptions.
Because you're in lockdown, you've got extra time. Like, there are some people who are on Instagram, you know, singing that "Bored in a House bored" song. Don't act like you don't know. Don't make that face at me. And then there's people who are saying they're bored, or they don't know what to do with their time. Help! But for the majority of us entrepreneurs and stuff, we've got loads to do.
Yeah.
What do you think, Byron? Because otherwise it's a short video. It'll be 1 minute 31.
So, first of all, I have seen it also an increase in people asking me to do podcasts, and more so people asking for you to do podcasts and contribute to their channels and shows. A massive increase, absolute massive. And you are very right. It is one of the biggest misconceptions of this current situation that we have more time. Yes, we are at home and we may pay more attention to things and it's easier to capture our attention and so on and so forth. But we don't all have more time. And more importantly, we may not want to do that particular podcast or show or shout out or whatever it is. Not because we're horrible people, but because we just don't want to, or doesn't add value, or
doesn't align with your brand.
Yeah. There's a
or if you weren't
going
to do it before, you're not suddenly going to do it because you're in lockdown. Like, I feel like some people are like, oh, are you available now? Like, have you got time now? Well, no, because
it's one of the biggest misconceptions.
I feel like we've got less time.
We've got
now.
less time. No, we are busier.
Yeah.
So we have more clients. We're doing more work. We are busier for sure, but I think the only difference for us, or for me in particular, is the time that I would perhaps spend traveling or commuting or socializing. I now have an extra 8 hours in my week.
Yes.
So instead of me doing that, I convert that to I'm on the phone talking to somebody, doing something, whether it be business or not, and I'm multitasking, doing something, right? So,
but that 8 hours is easily filled.
Oh, absolutely. So I think the lesson here is, or the lesson here is, and we spoke about this before, is adding value to your offering. So give the offer, you know.
Ask whatever you want.
Deliver it, and just to bring it to a positive, this is the time to ask people, because they are more reachable. There are less gatekeepers. They are more open to doing something because they are at home.
Yes.
Because they're not running around and they are saving that 8 hours.
Yes. But you have to stand out.
You've
for
got
the
to
right
stand
reasons.
out from the crowd. You've got to stand out from the noise. You've got to make it interesting. You've got to make it appealing. You've got to make it sexy. You've got to make it exciting. And if you don't know how, make sure you get a mentor or consultant.
Plug.
Anyway, we don't do that. But anyway,
absolutely. Add value. Like, just think about, if you're gonna try and proposition someone for your podcast, your event, your online virtual panel or whatever, you still have to add value. So what is it gonna do for them beyond exposure? Don't just keep saying exposure. Beyond that,
give you exposure.
You know, what else does it do? How many people watch your podcast or your series? Or who is it for? Who's it targeting? Why would it be relevant? Like, think outside the box. Think a bit more like entrepreneurially, and think, how does this add value to that person? Why would they want to invest their time on yours as opposed to anything else that's happening?
Yeah, and I think that summarizes it. Yeah. But you will get lucky. Some people will get lucky. and some people will just hit the right person and
At the right time. Yeah.
But that would have happened anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But just please.
And it doesn't mean the person's not nice or that they don't want to help. They probably do, but they just get so many messages. You think you might be the only message. There are so many messages. So just be conscious that they're not trying to be horrible. They're not, whatever. They just have to make a choice about how they spend their time and what they align with. And for those of you bored, there's so much you could be doing. Like, it's just.
I want to give a couple quick top tips actually, because when I get an email from someone, perhaps one of you is watching now, and you want Bianca to speak on your podcast, the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at your branding. I'm looking at your email footer. I'm looking at your email address,
email account, yeah,
your email account, and the format of the email
Mm-hmm.
before it even enters my brain whether this is interesting or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, if you fail that test because you haven't even left a contact number, you got your Gmail account, the formatting's all over the place. I can see that you've copy and pasted from a previous message,
Mm-hmm.
and the font
left the wrong bit in.
The wrong font is being used.
Yeah.
That already, you are discredited.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you now, in that email, says something phenomenal, you're discredited.
Yeah.
So, that is how I'm looking at it already. Cool, you passed that test, or you actually are, you have something to offer. That's, we want to work with people. So, everything looks in shape. Okay, so now I ask for some previous content that you've done. So I'll say, can you provide me with some content that you've previously done? I want to see what it looks like visually. I want to see whether it's credible, whether this is going to align with Bianca's brand. So I want to see what else you've done. If you've not done anything else, cool. Well, what are you going to provide me that is of value that makes me make a buying decision? Or in this case, offers Bianca's services and her very finite amount of time. So you've just started your podcast, cool. We want to be able to help support entrepreneurs and all different types of people in ways in which perhaps align with our agenda, or that can just help you because we have spare 15 minutes. Cool. So who else are you planning on interviewing? What is your message? What is your why? What is your purpose? And if you're not giving me this, it's just too time consuming for me to have an open dialogue. So my immediate response is what?
No.
So I will find a creative way of doing that if need be. But that's not always the case, and that isn't always the reason why we say no. Sometimes it's just not we have plans for doing things at a later date, that is what you're doing, and therefore by doing that means it's not the right time, or we're contractually not allowed to do that because I've just signed a deal for Bianca to talk here or there, and there's a conflict of interest. So there are many, many reasons why sometimes it cannot be done. So I don't want to discredit you from not approaching or whatever it might be, but you have to make sure that you're there is structure behind it. Yeah. So there's just some real quick tips for anybody. And even if you're in business, sometimes you guys make these mistakes anyway. I know some people who, some messages that we get, people actually got good platforms. So I'm like, dude, man, couldn't you not use your Gmail account? Nothing against Gmail, but look.
Use your own brand.
There we go. We talk about this in the program a lot. But anyway, so guys, please.
Think about it. You want to make them say yes. So write that email in a way that gives them no option to say no. They really want to say yes because you've given so much information so much value, not loads of information. Loads of information isn't the same as good, valuable information. So you've given good, valuable information and you've given them the reason to say yes. That's what we need from you. So just think about how you're approaching people. But now is the time to approach. But don't be disheartened or don't be angry if they decide that they're not going to work with you on that occasion. It's just there's a few more people I'm sure you can contact.
And you know what? Sometimes you just got to knock the door again.
Yeah.
Because timing.
Yeah, is everything.
And that in fact happened with an interview we did very recently. And I had sent about 5 messages on IG, and I sent an email. I had to, when you can unsend the message. I unsent the message so I don't look crazy. Then timing just happened at the right time. I asked a question and I got a response straight away. Boom. Contact my PA, contacted the PA, it was done.
Time is everything.
Time is everything. So guys, we really hope you enjoyed that. Have you approached someone and got good results? Let us know for an interview or podcast or whatever it is. Have you been interviewed? Does it drive you crazy when they don't add value or tell you, their numbers or whatever it might be? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you share this message and video with your audience, at least one person, right? Come on. So yes, that's it, I think.
That's it. Like, comment, subscribe and share. We'd appreciate it.